And as a matter of fact, I would like to also thank you for coming and congratulate you on your efforts through the years in this concept of volunteerism. This community has always been blessed by an abundance of volunteerism and contributors, but in the past 2 years, this has been accelerated due to the fine efforts of our coordinator, Don DJ Marino. Easy for me to say. Affectionately known as DJ. I've said that all my life, haven't I, Don? As our resources in this community level off and even decrease, and as our needs to educate our children actually increase, the gap that is filled and spanned is the bridge of volunteerism, the bridge of contributors. It is you people here tonight that have done this in the past and will continue to do this in the present. And I was reminded of the prophet Gehil Gibran in a statement that he made in the book, The Prophet. And he spoke in the temple where they had the parishioners and they had a group of rich people. And the rich man asked the prophet, "Speak to us of giving." And the prophet responded, "You give little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give." And tonight we recognize each and every one of you in this hall for giving of yourself. We are going to need your help in the future, even more, as the years go by. So tonight we would like to thank you. We would like to congratulate you. We would like to recognize you for your outstanding contributions to our children of this community. I hope you have a wonderful dinner, and after dinner we will do the recognition ceremony. Thank you very much. Do we eat?
And talk to you about the school community project. Tonight's function and recognition ceremony is sponsored by the School Community Project, which is a nonprofit group of educators, school committee members, citizens, parents, that a year ago we put together kind of a vision of developing a concept of a school community in Wakefield. Steve Mayo and I, along with the help of some members of the school committee, approached some sponsors in the business community. We talked to them about what we would like to do for a school community project. And through their efforts, the Wakefield Savings Bank, Melrose Wakefield Hospital, and Time Warner Cable, we received a substantial grant from those three organizations to fund a series of functions that involve speaking engagements, that involve recognizing volunteers in the community. Next month we are holding a ceremony to recognize more than 60 employees of the Wakefield Public School System who have contributed more than 25 years of service to the town of Wakefield. The idea is to build a stronger school community that includes teachers, parents, townspeople, business people, civic groups. All of you here tonight were invited for that reason. Some of you are here because you've contributed of your time. Some of you represent organizations that have done so much for us. We know in putting together the logistics of this, we are already planning to hold a second function in the early spring. It was not possible to invite every single individual in the system. So what we asked was each building administrator to put together a representative list. You as PTO offices are here representing your PTOs. Some of you are here representing your businesses and your organizations. So if we have missed anyone, please believe we have not forgotten anyone. We will be recognizing them, but we wanted to try and put together a ceremony that really represented a cross-representation of Wakefield. And if you look around you, this is our concept of a school community. And we want to thank all of you. We want to thank the school committee, and most especially we want to thank Wakefield Savings Bank, Melrose Wakefield Hospital, and Time Warner Cable for making this possible. You will be seeing more from us over the next year, and we ask for your support and really ask you to keep doing what you're doing. We are so appreciative. But for tonight, this is our way of saying thank you on behalf of the town of Wakefield and the Wakefield School Department. We know it's a very small token, but it is a very sincere token. And we thank you very much. And I will ask Mr. Tarr from the Wakefield Board of Selectmen to come up along with Mr. Scully from the school committee to make a presentation. Okay.
First, to echo Mr. Bottano's comments, certainly the efforts of everybody here, the businesses, individuals, and school personnel, are certainly what make our town, Wakefield, a great place to live. It's a pleasure for me to be here tonight representing the town on the Board of Selectmen and to present this short resolution. I'd like to read it to everybody. Board of Selectmen, Wakefield, Mass. Resolution. Whereas public education depends on the spirit of volunteerism to provide assistance to teachers and enrichment to students, and whereas the community of Wakefield has enthusiastically volunteered for all aspects of school support, from tutoring students in reading, mathematics, and computer literacy to providing student supervision and safety programs, and whereas over 500 citizens each year have contributed thousands of hours to assist the schools in the important task of providing significant education and social activities, now therefore be it resolved that the Wakefield Board of Selectmen does declare the week of February 28th to March 4th, 1994 as Wakefield School Volunteer Week, and does further declare March 2nd, 1994 as Wakefield Volunteer Day. Congratulations to all of you. Bill, congratulations to the school department.
Just in behalf of all of the 500 people that made this possible and will continue to make this possible, we thank the Board of Selectmen for this. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you. And while Mr. Scully and Mr. Tarr are reenacting that presentation for the photographer from the item over in this corner of the library. No? Okay. I've been overruled. This is going to go on for about a half hour or so. We have gone for the reenactment. Bill, just think if this is a wedding, we couldn't take pictures in the chapel. Next, I'd like to introduce to you someone who has been working very hard this past year as Director of Volunteers for the Wakefield School System. Dominic DeGiamarino has been heading up WAVE, Wakefield Association of Volunteers for Education, and would like to give you a little overview of what he has been doing this past year. He has multiplied many times the efforts of volunteers in the system by bringing in more and more businesses and volunteers and people in the community. We're very appreciative of him. And Dom, if you would like to come up.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our honored guest. I hope that you all enjoyed your dinner, because now I'm going to make a speech. You know, somebody once told me that making a speech was like being a corpse at a funeral. They need you in order to hold the event, but don't expect you to say very much. You know, Dr. Mayo once said that volunteers are crucial to the success of every organization, and he's so right. A well-run volunteer program is a tremendous asset to any organization. In 1992, I was appointed Director of Volunteers, Alumni, Business University Partnerships, and Student Community Service to maintain and encourage a spirit of volunteerism in the Wakefield schools. And thanks to all you people sitting out there, we have done just that. As Director, it is my job to organize and coordinate a system-wide program which enlists the assistance of volunteers to help teachers and principals provide educational enrichment activities to the students of Wakefield. For the past 26 years, I have been working with the business community in the work-study and occupational and vocational study programs, which encourage employment partnerships with the business community. Many of these businesses still employ our high school students, giving them an opportunity to get a head start on a career or giving them financial means to get a college education. The volunteer business partnerships encourage such programs as adopt-a-school programs, speaker programs, and the exchange of ideas from business experts and teachers for mutual enrichment and understanding. We encourage Wakefield students to provide services free of charge to community agencies, boards, citizens such as the elderly and the disabled through our youth community service program. We have also developed an alumni organization as part of this volunteer program in order to further promote educational programs and activities and to provide comprehensive support from all public education in Wakefield among those who have benefited from past programs. These programs have been made possible only through the efforts and the generosity of you people sitting out there. And so tonight, it is my pleasure to honor the businessmen and women who have assisted the school department either through the funding of programs and or the donation of their time and talents. At this time, I would like to recognize the following individuals for their contribution to the program and ask them to come to the podium and to remain here after they have received their award. And ladies and gentlemen, as I call your name, I wish you would stand just over there. And Ms. Marge McGrath will give me a hand with this, please. Please come to the podium as I call your name. Mary Beth Cox, Papagenos. Please hold your applause until I get them all in. Mary Beth? Did Ann Keegan make it? Ann Keegan from Prime Communications? Okay. Jack Jeffrey, Wakefield Auto Sales. Come on, Jack, get up over there. Tony Lapry, Crystal Auto Sales. Did he make it? He said he was, but he couldn't. Okay. Mr. Gaia, Chucky Gaia, Kippo's Roast Beef. Come on, Chuck. Oh, yes, Mr. Eric Dury did not make it, but he sent a representative, Mr. Tom Doran. Will you come up and for Dury Seafood? Mr. Siciliano, Buddy, New England Heritage Insurance Company. Mr. Mike Musto, Crystal Driving School. Mr. Tom O'Brien, My Brother's Place. Bob Windsor. I didn't see Bob, so evidently he couldn't make it. Lisa Pappas, Bay Bank. Richard Tamburini, Eastern Bank. Robert Crawford, Wakefield Savings Bank. Kurt Muffelman, is he here? Kurt? No. Okay. Mike Brownson, is he here? Okay. Frank Diatori, Seville's Hair Design. Frank Diatori. Elizabeth Toppy, Toppy Insurance Company. John Murphy, Tucko's Auto Supply. Gary left. Bob Moses, Wakefield Incorporated. Bobby? Mr. Mark Mazak, Melrose Wakefield Hospital. The next 4 or 5 people, Dr. Mel Pawlowski for the Rotary. Mel? Bianca Pera. These 4 people that I'm calling now, if they're all here, represent Community Service Learning, which is the coming thing, and you will be hearing an awful lot about this program in the coming weeks. Jane Porter. Sally Freeman here. Dennis Quinn. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my personal thanks to all of you people. I needed your help, and you came through. I am grateful because without you, these programs would not exist, and I thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give these people a nice round of applause.
Thank you very much, Mr. G. Giammarino. At this particular time, we'd like to have our school administrators and our coordinators of the various departments acknowledge their volunteers. And we'll begin with Mr. Sullivan from Wakefield High School. Mr. Sullivan.
Just as an aside on DJ, I now know why that for all of the time that he's been around, we've always referred to him as Merlin the Magician. We would go to him at all sorts of times and all sorts of places and say, DJ, I need a job for this kid or I need a job for that kid. And out of nowhere, one would appear. We now know why, because he had all sorts of people out there working for him. The particular one that I remember all the time is Dory Seafood. I don't think everybody ever leaves Dory Seafood. They go there and stay there. Thanks, TJ. In the whirlwind of the high school, it's a very interesting place to be. If you need help, and we always do, we have a whole lot of people who help us. But in particular, we have people who are very time sensitive in helping us. They're there when we need them, no questions asked, all the time. Nancy McCarthy, our president of our PTSA, is always there when we need her. Nancy? Oh. Jeannie Leach. Jeannie, where are you? Jeannie didn't come. We'll fix her. Shirley Gainey? Shirley? Oh, where's Shirley? Didn't come here. Okay. And Ronnie Burns. Where's Ronnie? Ronnie didn't come either. That's wonderful. Nancy? Where are they when I need them? They're all working somewhere. But thank you, Nancy. Again, thank you for all of your work in particular. She actually leads a cast of thousands who are very invisible, but who are always there doing all sorts of things. This weekend they were making about 10,000 phone calls. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. John Sardella from Galvin Junior High School, please. Thank you.
This time I'd like to recognize two co-chair people of the PTO of the Galvin Junior High School. Ruth Ann Smith is one. Would you come up, Ruth Ann, please? Just right over here, if you would. Jeannie Queso, please. Norma Lester, I don't believe she's here. I didn't see her.
Well, now.
How did I miss you?
How could you miss?
When did you come in?
10 minutes past 7.
You did? I didn't see you. I was over here talking to some members of the town. How about Marilyn Shevlin? Is she here? I just want to say about the three individuals, the two PTO chair people. Without their help, the PTO would be a complete failure. They're the ones who devote all their time and effort. Every time I turn around in the office, no matter what time of the day it is, I see two faces, and that's Ruth Ann Smith and Jeannie Queso. And they're always here for the students in the Galvin Junior High School. It's a tremendous type of individuals that would devote all that time and effort to all the students. They're not just, they have students in the school, but they're not just concerned about their own students, but they're concerned about all the students. And this makes it very important. Norma Lester goes back a long time as far as knowing Norma, and she's a devoted individual who comes down and helps Nina McCarthy in the library. And, well, without her help, the town would have to spend at least another $20,000. Right. That's right. So she's a tremendous person, and she does so much work, and we have some few laughs here and there. Once in a while I walk in the teacher's room and see Norma having a cup of coffee and some little pastry or something. No pastry, okay. But I really can't say enough about these three individuals as volunteers. And the volunteer system, as far as I'm concerned, I hope it expands in the junior high school. It seems to level off as it goes through the elementary and the Atwell, and then when they get to junior high, I don't know if it's the parents that go back to work someplace. And if you get volunteers, you really appreciate it. And I do appreciate you three. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sardella. Mr. Generazzo from the Atwell School.
Dr. Sardella, you're always a tough act to follow. I have to say that as good as your PTO is, mine is the best. We have two people, without a doubt, that are really something exceptional. Roxy Billings and Kathy Correa. Roxy and Kathy. She's just as nice as she looks.
Yeah, I wanted to know why Kathy asked me to do this, and now I know, so I can come to these places.
We always need money, and without Maureen Quinn, there would be a great deal of difficulty in the Atwell. Maureen is a great fundraiser. Maureen Quinn? Probably absconded with the money. Don't tell her I said it. Donna Fiola. Donna is a young lady who's always in the office. She's a jack of all trades, and she's a master of every one of them. We really appreciate everything she does for us. Mr. Young is our primary security person. You can't get in the building without meeting Mr. Young. And Lucy Dominicus, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Lucy. But Lucy is my right arm on the council. She does a little bit of everything. She types. She tells me when I make all the mistakes. She's really wonderful, and again, as good as your councils are, I think we've got the best one, and Lucy is part of it. I'm a rookie at administrating, head administrating at the Atwell Building, and I think that these three people, along with the other three who are not here tonight, are the main reason why I haven't had too many complaints. Maybe the school committee and the superintendent gets them, but I don't. That's a good sign. Kathy's not here. Maureen isn't here. Donna. Robert. And Lucy.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Generoso. Now for the K4 districts, I'd like to begin with Mr. Molesky, principal of the Hurd, Walton, and West Ward District. Mr. Molesky.
Good evening, all. There's seldom a day goes by that I don't enter any of my buildings and that I don't see a volunteer within the building. It hits home to me more what President Bush had meant when he had said the 1,000 points of light. So we do have here in Wakefield the 1,000 points of light. You all that are here before me tonight. I thank you, each and every one of you. Particularly, I like to recognize the people in my buildings. So it is with great pride and true pleasure that I would like to recognize the following people. And if you would come up and stand beside me here, please. At the Hurd School, I would like to first recognize Catherine Keefe. She's not here. Nancy O'Connor. Jeff Foxon. 3 strikes and I'm out. I know that Denise Yassi is here. Denise, please. Jan Luongo. Douglas Dodge. Jerry Caton. And Janice Dodge. And Debbie Caton. There's Janice Dodge and Debbie Caton. They're the volunteers at the Hurd School. At the Walton School, I don't believe she's here, Angela Taylor. We have Christine Bridges. Deborah Burchell was unable to attend tonight. Janet Burns. Joan DeBenedictis. Susan Serino. And at the West Ward School, Dawn DeMars, Dawn DeMars. Linda Hurton. And 3 people I don't believe are here tonight. Rena Jeffrey, Leah Sullivan, and Lynn Shaharan. Can you come just a little closer, please? For the cameras. Once again, I'd like to thank each and every one of you. Without you, our schools would be lost in many different areas. You have given quite a bit to us, and we're most appreciative of it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Molesky. I'd like to call on Mr. Boyd, principal of the Franklin Doyle District.
Just very briefly, one of the things that I notice when I look out in the audience is we've had many volunteers go through the Franklin and Doyle schools, and as I look out there, a lot of you are still volunteering, and I think that's great. You never stop. But this year, I'm really blessed. I have great PTOs, and I have great support, and I don't think there's a group of people that work harder, although I'm sure everybody would say that about their volunteers. So, but I feel truly blessed, and I'd like to present to you my volunteers that are here this evening. And I'm going to start with the Franklin. And first, my co-presidents of the PTO this year, they're brand new. This is their first time, and they're great. They really are. Wendy Castine and Laurie Spagnuolo. Our secretary that does all our press releases, and I hope you read them all, Gail Cucarulo. And our treasurer, Joanne D'Aso. At the Doyle School, I have a group of old pros. They've been doing this for a while, so we've been working well together for a number of years. One of our co-presidents cannot be here tonight, and that's Katie Walsh. But one of our co-presidents is here, and that would be Patty Bruno. Patty. Our co-secretaries would be Jackie Sorrentino and Jeannie Higgins. And our treasurer, who could not be here, is Andy Frazier. And those would be the volunteers from the Franklin and the Doyle schools. And ladies and one gentleman, thank you so much. Okay.
Okay.
At this point, I would like to bring Patricia Doran back up here. Patty? Patty, come over here. Patricia Doran, this is one of the young ladies I recruited, and she has done an awful lot for me. She lectures at the math program at the junior high, and she doesn't know it yet, but she will be lecturing at the math department at the high school. Miss Ronnie Walsh would like to see you. And she's also co-president, co-chair of the junior high. Patty, I thank you very much for all you've done for us. There we go.
Now moving onward to the Dahlberg Montrose District, Mrs. Karen Callan. Mrs. Callan.
Thank you. This year, as a first-year principal, I couldn't do without my volunteers, not only my PTO board and my councils, but also the 30 or 40 that work in my schools, in the library, in the computer labs, in the classrooms. They are just a wealth of knowledge to me and terrific support for the children, the staff, and myself. First, from the Montrose School, my PTO co-presidents this year are Pat Rastellini and Ann Broaddus. Also on the PTO board, Sue Wetmore, Lynn Taby, Carolyn Morrill, Marie Moore, from the Dahlbeer School, only one of my officers could make it this evening, and that is Philip Good. The other volunteers that were unable to join us this evening are Ruth Ann Strong, who is the PTO president, Diane Caton, and then I have two for the Dahlbeer. And these are my PTO volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Callan. Now the Greenwood Ewell District, Ms. Judy DeLucia. Ms. DeLucia.
Well, I'm glad to have been the last one to get up here for the schools, because as I look around and people stood up from the high school, junior high, and Atwell, I kept saying, are they here from the Greenwood, or are they here from other schools? So obviously, their volunteerism has continued, which is very nice. And I guess to echo everyone else, we do have the best PTO and the most volunteers. And I think you're right. We all feel that across the town. And it's so nice to see that all the PTOs have worked so nicely together over the past few years that we've been here. And on a weekly basis, we must have anywhere from 50 to upwards to 100. We have 100 and something volunteers on our volunteer list. So you never know who's going to be in the building. And as long as they put their buttons on, we're all set. And I can't thank you enough for all that you do. They do so many wonderful things for the children and the staff. We do have some people who just never stop volunteering at the Greenwood, and our Young at Heart group, who's been there for many, many years, include William Guile, Peg McHugh. Come on, Peg. I know you're here. And Ruth Moff, who have been working in our schools for years and years and years. We have our PTO president, Elaine Silva, Vice President Jean O'Neill, Tom Kelleher, Vice Presidents. Treasurers, I think, must be with Al's treasurers somewhere, because I don't see them here. Paul and Joyce DeLelio, Teresa Hartig, Luann Shine, who takes care of the library at the Ewell School, Carol Otochowski, our library coordinator at the Greenwood School, Rini Sansonito, past president and very active volunteer, Ginger Ingalls, our arts enrichment, and another very active volunteer. These two ladies, along with another parent, have just put together a math-a-thon for the entire schools. It was an idea they thought up, and they've been working on since last June, and have made booklets for every single grade level for all the kids in both schools. And it has been hours of work to put this together. And these are our Greenwood Ewell volunteers. Congratulations. Just stay up here for me. We have one very special lady that has been part of the Wakefield School Department for many years. And although she's sitting here with the volunteers, we feel like she has volunteered thousands and thousands and thousands of hours to the school system. And she is our elementary school nurse, Astrid Napolitano. Astrid has been a friend, a nurse, someone who is always there to lend an ear or lend a hand to anyone who needs it, whether it's a child, a faculty member, a student, somebody on the street who looks like they're having difficulty. Astrid runs out and takes care of them. Am I right? She does. She came to Wakefield Public Schools after 25 years working at the Melrose Wakefield Hospital. She began in Wakefield in 1980 as a vision and hearing specialist and substituting for the school nurses. She worked in 9 elementary schools then. In 1985, she took over all 9 elementary schools until this school year. Finally, she's had a little assistance and is now working in the Greenwood, Ewell, Franklin Doyle districts. She has taken care of approximately 1,400 students a year over the past 8 years. She consults on abuse cases. She consults on suspected abuse cases. She checks for head lice. She administers medication daily. She works to help the homeless. She's always in tune to those in need. We'll come in school someday and there'll be bags and bags and bags around, and you know that Astrid's delivering to somebody who is in need. You never know who it is. You will never know who it is. It's done very discreetly. She keeps people in the community with food, medical help. She helps out with utilities if they need help with utilities. She finds clothing when clothing is needed. She has trained faculty in CPR. She makes home visits. She attends any meeting we ask her to be at. When she was at 9 schools, we'd say, Astrid, when do you want me there? And she would be there. There would be 3 emergencies, and she would never be frazzled. She would always come in very quietly. So what I did last week is I went around and I asked some of the students and I asked some of the faculty if they could think of one word to describe Astrid, what would it be? The faculty's description: heartwarming, very caring, generous, understanding, a sweetheart, compassionate. And the students: nice, kind, helpful, behaved, friendly, neat, and cool. So I guess on all accounts, Astrid, we could never thank you enough for all that you have done, going around to 9 elementary schools for all those years and never being frazzled. I don't know how you did it, but from all of us in Wakefield, we'd like to thank you. So could you come up? And Astrid's greatest support is with her tonight, her husband, Anthony.
Thank you, Mr. Lucia. Now I'd like to call on Dr. Mullen for the athletic department.
Astrid, I've seen you misbehave on occasion. I once read that people who volunteer 2 hours a week of their time live longer. And if that's true, those people who volunteer in the athletic department, I think you guys are going to live to about 100 years old. The hours, obviously, that you've all put in cannot be counted. I can't help but be struck tonight. A lot of people have talked about community. And I have had the opportunity in this last month to see this community absolutely at its very best. This is a very loving community, a very caring community. This is a community that I take great pride in working for and with. So let me just now list off the people who have volunteered to the athletic department. If you could all just come up and stand here. First of all, Jay Callahan. Come on, Jay. John Colucci, John Dodo, John Dodo is our volunteer goalie coach for our undefeated hockey team this year. Mary Beth Sidlowski. Alicia Duff. Nobody's here. Beth Malone. Chris Mastrangelo. Helen Correa. Michael Foley. Gus Perone. Frank Gallahue. Alice Itano. And that's it. You all have my deep appreciation, because without you, as with everybody, we certainly could not keep the quality of the programs that we've been able to maintain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mullen. Now I'd like to call on Diana Minton, Mrs. Diana Minton from the Special Education Department.
Good evening. This is a wonderful tribute to all the people in the audience. The Special Education Department doesn't have a building and sometimes doesn't have a lot of high visibility. One of the things that we need to do a lot of in my department is educate parents about what happens, what disabilities are, what they mean. And I have two wonderful people who have worked on building education programs for the parents of the special needs children in Wakefield. And those two people are Ginger Ingalls and Jeannie Bowen, the co-presidents of our PAC. Please come up. Ginger gets everywhere. Thank you very much for all the work that you do.
Thank you, Mrs. Minton. And now to call on our last school administrator, Ms. Nancy Minicello from the High School Guidance Department.
I would also like to say that not only do we have fabulous volunteers in the guidance department, but they really function as secret Santas. I'll call and I'll say, I need this, I need that, I need the college applications filed, I need to send for college applications, I need catalogs, I need scholarships typed, I need whatever, and many of you, as I look out, who have high school children, receive those 9-page newsletters 3 or 4 times a year, and what happens is I make a single call. I run off the stuff. Somebody picks up these boxes and boxes of materials. The secret Santas go off into the middle of the night, and the next day, 1,000 newsletters are all assembled, labeled, and ready to go back to the community. I assure you that without their help, you would still be waiting for the first newsletter 5 years ago. So it gives me great pleasure to recognize the wonderful volunteers in the guidance department. I appreciate them more than you could ever know. Marianne Shaka, who is not here, she left to go to her daughter's classical music performance, but if the others would come up. Alana Anderson, Marsha Sordilla, I did not see Marsha here. Peg Hunt, Carol Price, Martha Callanan, and we would also like to give recognition to Joanne Angelo. Thank you all. We never reject volunteers, by the way. Anyone who wants to help is more than welcome. Sure.
Several months ago, the school committee appointed a screening committee to search out the 4 final candidates for the new superintendent of schools to replace Dr. Mayo on his retirement after 15 years in the Wakefield school system. In November, we appointed a committee of 9 from dozens of applications from very fine and qualified individuals in this community. These 9 individuals have served many, many long hours between many, many snowstorms over the past 3 months. And as a matter of fact, I think they met during a couple of those snowstorms. And they would meet 6 to 8 hours at a time. They have submitted to us the 4 finalists who will be interviewed starting next Tuesday night, Tuesday and Thursday, the 8th and 10th of March, followed by the 15th and 17th of March. And those interviews will be here in this library, and they'll be televised live. They are not finished with their job. They are being asked to go on the site visitation teams. These volunteers have spent dozens and dozens of hours, and they have brought to us the quality. Although some in this community have questioned whether we had a terrific, well-typed consultant, I can tell you, as one school committee member has said to me tonight, we got our money's worth with these people, 100 times over. Let me recognize them if I might. Their chairman, Dr. Chet Delaney, who I understand is not here tonight. Richard Sawin, who is in St. Martin's, where we would all like to be. Our chairman of our Board of Selectmen, Wayne Tarr. Mr. Tarr. Dr. Paula Mullen. Mark Luker from the parents. David Mayo, our junior high school teacher. Elizabeth Eckborg, who is not here tonight also. Patricia Bucher, who unfortunately fell and broke her ankle on Sunday, tripping over Mrs. Lepo's feet. Tripping over your feet, right, Marge? And Marge Lepo. We thank them. They're wonderful volunteers. This is what it's all about. They did an excellent job, and I'm sure they will continue to do it. And we will bring you the finest candidate that we possibly can. Thank you.
In my years as a superintendent, one of the most enjoyable tasks I've had is really to talk to people who want to volunteer in the school department. In over 15 years, that has literally been thousands of people, and the volunteering has ranged from baking cakes, helping out at PTO functions, helping out at schools, helping out at school committee functions, to a person who once came into my office, and this is a person who had been helping in many other ways volunteering, but came into my office and wanted to remain anonymous, and left an envelope on my desk, and it was a large envelope, and he opened it up, and it was about $40,000 worth of stock that he wanted to contribute to the Wakefield Citizen Scholarship Foundation. So volunteerism really ranges from the complete gamut of giving 5 minutes of a time in an elementary school building to tremendous projects for young people. And everybody's not here. Maybe it was mentioned already that when we did count the number of people in the system today that are volunteering today, we came up with about 500 people. 500, and we asked the principals and we asked the administrators and everybody to think of maybe the top 5 or 6 in many of the areas so that we could get them all in one place, and it was determined that we would probably have to have another one of these to get everybody in here, and we have forgotten some people, and so we do intend in time to have another project to honor our volunteers. So it's my pleasure first to call members of the Executive Council of School Presidents, some of the members anyways, that have had leadership positions. The Executive Council of School Presidents over the years have come together to bring all of the ideas and concerns of all the PTOs together, and have been very helpful in guiding the administration and in giving advice to the school committee on many, many matters, and we're very, very grateful. And I'd like to call up the following who have had leadership positions in the Executive Council: Ted Croce, Rini Sansanito, Debbie Bongiorno, and Marge Leppo. We've had in the past committees that have been investigating the use of facilities and planning new facilities. We have currently people who are working in buildings to provide safety for our youngsters, which is a new twist in volunteerism, but very, very important today. We have, as you know, volunteers teaching computers, mathematics. I know a friend of mine who's been, every time I call him, he comes in to teach mathematics, and we forgot to put him on the list. So we'll definitely have to have another program. I'd like to call up members of the Wakefield Education Foundation, one of the newer volunteer societies in this community, which has been very, very helpful in helping us with many enrichment activities in the budget, if they are here. Rosa Ria, are you here tonight? And President Anthony Petrofitta, is Tony here tonight? Well, the Wakefield Education Foundation has certainly been very, very, very helpful, and I know there are other members here who have received awards who are also on the foundation. I just mentioned the Wakefield Citizen Scholarship Foundation, and we have with us tonight the president of the foundation. The foundation, I believe, this year, or let's say last year, I believe it was approximately $200,000 worth of scholarships. Still the largest citizen scholarship foundation in the entire nation, and in fact the world. And representing the Citizen Scholarship Foundation tonight is Robert Eldridge, the president of the Wakefield Citizen Scholarship Foundation. And there again are directors in that foundation, and they work countless hours to manage, I believe, approximately $3 million, which is quite a large responsibility, and there are 40 directors involved in the Citizen Scholarship Foundation. They do a wonderful job. Others whom we'd like to honor tonight: Jean Sarecchia from our Food Service Department. Is Jean here tonight? Jean works in the junior high. She loves the kids. She knows everybody by name at the junior high, and she's always ready to help us with these functions, as is Jean Keene. Is Jean here tonight? Jean is at the high school. Again, someone who really takes the kids to heart and loves to cook for them and provide them with hot meals. I guess they're not here tonight, but they have our thanks. Anybody here from Time Warner Cable? Warner Cable? The cable company has been very, very generous to the school department, both in the time to televise, but also in generously providing funding for various projects, and we're very grateful to Time Warner. Wakefield Teachers Association, is Joan Rossi here? Joan? The Wakefield Teachers Association gives countless hours to the school department in many, many activities that go unsung, and we'd like to pay tribute to all of the teachers in Wakefield for the extra time they give, and by giving this award to the President of the Association, Joan Rossi. And for this project, the Secretary to Marge McGrath, our Acting Deputy Superintendent, the Secretary is Ann Pazant. I believe she's on her way to a well-earned vacation. And my Secretary, Susan Majeski, who could not be here tonight. Both of them worked very, very hard to put this entire function together and deserve a round of applause. Wakefield Music Boosters, Mr. and Mrs. Manthe, are they here tonight? They are not here, the president of the Music Boosters. But the Music Boosters, every year, the Music Boosters, of course, as I watch the football games or the various music programs and the concerts, you can just see them, you know, carrying in the equipment, carrying out the equipment, helping the youngsters. They're a wonderful organization. They earn for the students every year well over $25,000 a year. And that's something that, you know, we would never be able to put in the budget, and it's no wonder we have such a marvelous music program. So for the Wakefield Music Boosters, our thanks. The idea of honoring volunteers and really organizing the entire union of volunteers came into focus a couple of years ago when the school committee agreed to appoint a person who would help facilitate all of the volunteerism that we have in the system. And that person, who has done a wonderful job, well beyond anything I could have asked him to do, is Dominic DeGiammarino, and we'd like to honor him tonight for all the work he's done in WAVE, is it Wakefield Association for Volunteers in Education. WAVE, W-A-V-E, in Wakefield has really grown to the point where we have well over 500 volunteers. So I'd like to call Dominic up here. The other person who really spent 1,000 hours in putting this program together is our acting deputy superintendent, Marge McGrath. She's done a wonderful job every day for the last month or so, coordinating this event, making sure that we had the food, the place, the time, and the effort. And I'd like to recognize Marge. Marge, where are you? Marge, you stand? I don't have a certificate for you, Marge, but come over here. Since you put them all together. Thank you. And the moving force behind this entire event, someone who has been preparing the so-called farm street dinners, and I know many of us are disappointed tonight because Mr. Bottano himself did not cook the meal. But we're very grateful to him for motivating us to bring forth this event. I'd like to present to you Mr. Paul Bottano, former chairman of the Wakefield School Committee, currently on the school committee for the last 11 years, and was really the prime mover of this event. Paul Bottano.
I'll speak only to close the evening. But before I do, I really want to take a few minutes because it has been a job preparing for tonight. Dr. Mayo mentioned the people again. I want to thank, on behalf of the School Community Project, Ann Pazant, Sue Majeski. I know they're going to watch this when it's repeated on television, so we didn't forget you. They have just been wonderful with everything that we've done as part of this program and the other programs that they've put on in the past year. They've just been so good to the school committee, to Dr. Mayo, Mrs. McGrath, and Dr. Lee, and now to the School Community Project. Dr. Mayo, who co-chairs the School Community Project with myself, and who really has helped provide the vision for enhancing the concept of the school community in Wakefield And of course, we want to thank the people involved in the Farm Street Inn restaurant, the kids, and Tony Cucci, and the wonderful students from the junior high school who put on the musical selection. I won't beat that African proverb to death, "We are a village," because it's a little worn out. So we'd like to start a new one, and that is, we really are a school community. Good schools are supported by a strong school community. And lastly, I guess as the dean of the delegation, because this really is sponsored by the School Community Project, we wanted to grow. The committee this year consisted of Dom DeGiamarino, Marge McGrath, Steve Mayo, Ann Payzant, Sue Majeski, myself. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody. I want to thank, I can do it because I've been doing this for 12 years. There are 6 wonderful people that I really have the pleasure of serving with. I wasn't going to call them up here tonight because I'd probably get a lot of harassment, but I am going to say something about them. They are, in addition to you people, some of the biggest volunteers in this school system. They have one of the most unpopular jobs, along with superintendent, along with president of the WTA in town. And I just want to tell you that from the School Community Project's point of view, we're very appreciative for all of the hours that they put in. Whether we all disagree or agree, they do a tremendous job, as do all of you people. And we hope to see you in a year from now. Thank you very much.
Can I have your attention, please, for one moment? Unfortunately, one person it wasn't realized that someone was here, and there is a certificate for Jerry Russell from the Wakefield Garden Club. I couldn't let that go by. The Wakefield Garden Club does Trees for Wakefield. What is it called, Jerry? Arbor Day. The Garden Club members come out to all of the schools and give the 4th grade trees, little saplings, and they also sponsored Art and Bloom for the last couple of years at the Hartshorn House and worked with our high school and junior high art students. And they've done a wonderful job, and the club continues to support the art and the students of Wakefield. Thank you, Jerry. Sorry for the omission.